Yes. Okay. Okay, friends. So now more officially, I would like to thank you for to all of you to be here for this session. So hello to everyone: Antoine, Regina, Eder, Pavel, Aviva, Pilar. Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to see you. So we'll start with refuge, bodhicitta, and after we'll go straight to the point with the question of Pavel. He asked just before I start this session and the recording of it. But first, refuge, bodhicitta, and the prayer to the Lama, and then we see more in detail how to develop love and compassion, because this is the point with the Lojong, but also to understand why we have to do it, in for which purpose we are doing it. So it can be also very interesting. Sangye chö tong tso ge cho nam la chang chu para to da ni kyab su chi da ge jin so ge pe so nam ro la pen chir sangye chum para shu sim chen dam che de wa tang de we ju tang den para ju ru che dung al ge ju tang cho wa ju chi dung al me pe de wa tang pa tang min tra wa ju chi Nyering cha dang ni dang chal hai dang nyan chen pa la na pa ra ju ji pal den sa we la ma ren pa ji da ge ji wo ram pe me den cho la ka den chen pa go ne je song te ko song tu ge nga ran chal do sa. Okay, so dear friends, it's very good that we have this session today, because I just started today a workshop in Montchardon on Lojong. So I'm in the middle of that matter, so or in the subject. So it's like continuing, a way of a way to be fresh in that. Maybe not fresh, but totally involved in that reflection. So with that, I think we can see how we can not maybe not we, but how I can answer to your question, Pavel. You just asked. I say I because there is many answers to how we develop love and compassion. So it's just one of all answers we have, or we may have. But you were asking. But first, you were saying something really important. Speaking of Lamala, so Lama Tunzang, he just passed away, and so he said to you something very important, and I'm sure we can all receive this instruction, saying that the most important is to develop love and compassion, and definitely this is the point. But I would say that, and before answering to your question or trying to answering to your question, it's like I was saying today during the workshop. It's like when we have a tool, driver, for instance, diver. Huh? For instance, you have a tool, or you have a arm, or what, any kind of tool. When you have a tool, so it means that you want to use it for one purpose. And so, Lojong, mind training, because Lo means mind, Jong means train, to train the mind. To train the mind, it's a way of saying that if we want to achieve enlightenment, if we want to get rid of obscurations, veils of the mind, suffering, and so all of what we want to get rid of. So we have to take a path, and to take that path, we have to train the mind. If we don't train the mind, we cannot achieve the path. It's impossible, because mind is so important. Why mind is so important? Because everything is mind. So it means that if I live inwardly, if I live in a very depressed or a depressed inner situation, or if I have, to make it simple, if I have a lot of anger, for instance, so it means that I live in that. So it means that I resonate into that, I perceive things through that, and I react with that always. So way of thinking, it's a way of preparing ourselves to perceive things in another way. So I cannot develop another kind of relationship with others if I don't train the way I perceive others. So this is really important. So that's why we can really say that mind training is important, because of mind training, I transform the way I perceive. If I transform the way I perceive myself, others, the world, so I can act in a different way. And so that's why we use love and compassion. It's not because we think that it's not because in the Buddha Dharma, or in the teaching of the Buddha, he said you have to be compassionate. Sure, he said that. But it's not a way of saying that in itself we need it. In itself, when we say love and compassion for us, it's different than the quality, the innate quality of the mind. Innate quality of the mind, there is love, there is compassion, naturally. But we are not speaking of that love and compassion. We are speaking of the love and compassion we have to develop. So that's why we say Lo Jong, because Lo Jong, it's the training of the mind. Training of the mind, thinking and developing love and compassionate thoughts. So it's different, it's not that, the inner or innate quality of the mind, when we speak of love and compassion, we don't have to develop anything. We have naturally. So there is no worries about that, thinking that maybe I will not have love and compassion. If we realize the true nature of the mind, with that comes the expression, the natural expression of love and compassion, naturally. This is the quality of the mind. So love and compassion is not separate from that. But when we say, in the context of our practice, developing love and compassion, it means something different. It means the way of thinking. So we use it as a tool. We use it as a tool in order to develop the innate quality of love and compassion. So the innate quality of the mind. Why? Because we need that tool in order to change the way we perceive, and to change the way mainly to change the way we perceive others. If we continue to hate them, it will be very difficult to develop the qualities of the mind. So that's why we need love and compassion. We need it in order to develop qualities. Developing these qualities of love and compassion, in turn, makes possible to develop the innate nature of the mind. So, when we said that, it means that we need tools to develop love and compassion. So your question was, what do you think about using the mantra we find after the 10,000 mantras we recite, for instance, in Moshado? It's not the hate, it's the 100,000 mantra, we recite in Moshado, in fact. And at the end, yes, there is mantra. It is said that if we recite this mantra, so naturally we'll develop love and compassion. Okay, this is a tool, that's all. But personally, I would say that it's better to develop love and compassion with another way. Another way, it means that to develop love and compassion, according to for instance, Lojong, mind training, Tonglen, and based on Shantideva's practice. But again, it's also love and compassion. And so I have to develop it. And in fact, if I develop that, again, it's a tool. So if I understand it as a tool, so it means for what, in fact? What for? So I have a tool, but for what? For what reason I will use that tool? So I will use that tool in order to remove the root of suffering in myself, in my mind. In fact, this is the reason. Because the reason is very simple. If I develop love and compassion, I will reduce suffering. What it means, reducing suffering? Reducing suffering means reducing the cause of suffering. And what is the cause of suffering? It's the grasping of ego, the grasping of I. And this is definitely, it's not an option. You cannot say, okay, but maybe I will suffer less if I do that. No, impossible. Till it's not as soon, but yeah, as soon also. But since we have this grasping, so there is the root of suffering, because we have something to defend, something to protect. But saying that, it's not that we have to live without protection. And so this is the wisdom of Dharma. Because, for instance, if you take Shantideva on that subject, he's very clever, very smart, because he's not saying that you have to live without protection, without a sense of safety, for instance, or without developing your I, your ego. It's not that. It's not saying that you have to throw it away. In fact, there is nothing to throw it away. There is no I that I can get rid of. It's not the point. The point is, what are the attitudes I develop that goes in the direction of liberation, and what are the attitudes I develop that goes in the direction of suffering? This is the point. It's not saying I have to get rid of the ego like this is the ultimate way to be happy or not to suffer. Absolutely not. Sometimes it becomes the beginning of a very big struggle, because I will think that, oh, there is something very bad in myself, so this aspect is the ego, so I have to get rid of that ego, because ego is very naughty, very mean, very bad, not useful, and things like that. The position of Shantideva on that subject is very different. He's saying, we have to remember that, he's saying that you want to do your good, so perfect, so do the good of others. So what does it mean? It's not just a way of, make it fun, or absolutely not. It's a way of saying, okay, we consider for real our need, but not only our need, but also our obscuration, our confusion. The confusion we have, it's to protect ourselves. Okay, so it's like if Shantideva says, okay, perfect. So we take it for granted. Okay, you want to be protected. So if you want to be protected, so develop love and compassion. This will be the ultimate protection. This will really help you. Because with that, you will have less enemies. You will have more friends. And more than that, you will perceive others as a chance for you. The chance for developing the qualities, not a problem. So switching the way we perceive, it's really the way of making progress. Because in that case, so we get rid of the root of suffering, So love and compassion in that case, it's really understood as a tool to get rid of the root of suffering. And again, root of suffering, it's the ego clinging, And the best antidote for ego clinging is to use the presence of others in order to dissolve this clinging, in order to soften the clinging in a way. So personally, to make it short in answering to your question, personally I prefer to use the relative bodhicitta in the everyday life, or to use Tonglen, or to use the four limitless thoughts, mainly to develop love and compassion, than using mantras. Because for me, but this is just my perception, I don't believe too much in the magic aspect of mantras, I don't think that just by reciting, because I know myself, I know that if I just recite mantra thinking that I will develop love and compassion, I know the tricks I can play with myself. So this will be a good way for me to think, yes, it will be done naturally, So I have the magic, so I use it, so perfect, everything is perfect. But it doesn't work like this, With myself, it doesn't work like this. If I really, maybe if we are totally confident in the use of mantra and I recite it, really thinking that, may I really develop love and compassion, this is different. Because, okay, you have a pure aspiration. But you have to do the job anyway, It's not just by reciting the mantra that will develop love and compassion naturally, without any problems. And no, absolutely not. That's why I will be totally confident in the approach of Lojong. Because the approach of Lojong is saying others are more precious than the Buddha. So this is really strong, saying that. So it means that I need others. Okay. They create problems for me. Perfect. Very, very, very good. So you need that. So you need to be confronted by others. I need that. I need that in order to develop love and compassion. Out of that, it will be impossible. It's really difficult for me to do something. So, considering things in that way, love and compassion, it's really a good way to reduce the grasping of myself, as the most important thing. So I can start really to use all the thoughts we have to develop, so mainly the four limitless thoughts, in order to open myself to what Shantideva says when he speaks of the first step for Lojong. The first step is the equality with others. And after that, when we have developed this equality with others, so we can exchange with others. So in fact, we develop equality with others through love and compassion, in fact. So it means that to really exchange, first we have to develop a sort of link with others. And so this link will discover that link, understanding that there is essential equality with others. In the 8th chapter of the Bodhisattva, the Marche vers l'éveil, the path to awakening of Shantideva, in the 8th chapter, the 90th strophe or shlokas. So there is the first one speaking about the equality with others. And in that shlokas, he says that we are equal with others in front of, let's say, happiness and suffering. In front of. So this is really important. He is not speaking about the equality with others, thinking that we have the same way of experimenting pleasure and suffering, unpleasant things and pleasant things. So maybe very different. So for instance, now, Pavel, you are wearing a short, you know, maybe I can perceive it as weird, strange, whatever, you know, and I may think, you know, it's not the case, but I may think, wow, so ugly, you know, I will never wear something like this, you know. But it makes you happy, you know, for you. So for instance, it's a very, very simple example. So just to say, the point is not the way you perceive, it's the fact that you experiment pleasure and that you experiment unpleasant situation. This is the equality. It's not the object of your happiness or the object of your suffering that makes the equality with me, with myself, or with others. But what we have in common, but not only you and me, but also with the ants, with the elephants, with the very bad people on this world, with the fishes, with any kind of animals, or even the spirits, it's that in front, as Shantideva is saying, in front of happiness and suffering, in front of that, we are equally the same, totally the same, because we perceive happiness and we perceive suffering. That's all. And so this is a really important point, because if we miss that point, so we go, we get involved in all the differences we have between us. And so there is plenty, you know. For instance, let's take the example of having anger for someone. Okay, we may experiment anger for someone. This is absolutely possible. Okay, but this will just make us suffer, you know. It will absolutely not change the fact that the other one, maybe he's very wealthy, very rich, very powerful, very whatever, you know. Maybe he's very happy. If I have anger for him or for her, you know, it will not change the way he's living, you know. But the way I perceive, I will be in hell, definitely. And I have to be absolutely convinced of that. You know, I cannot develop love and compassion out of the fact that the thoughts I have can be medicine or can be poison, you know. And I have to be clear with that. Love and compassion are medicine for myself. Because when I take it, when I feel it, it makes me happy. It makes me relax. It makes me open, you know. If I feel anger, I suffer. That's all. The point is not to say, yes, but, you know, in that case, you know, it's absolutely founded, because, you know, it's right, you know, because this people is very bad. But the point is not that. The point is in which state or, how I experiment, you know, this anger in myself. I experiment anger with pain. And when I experiment love and compassion, I experiment joy and happiness. That's all. That's all that matter, you know, because it's the change, it's the transformation of my perception. But what for? Because, you know, with that quality of joy and happiness, I can start to work with the situation. I can start to do something with others, you know. Others, there are no more the problems, but they are the solution, you know, even those I don't like. Because, you know, they are giving me a chance to transform the perception I have. And also to transform myself, because saying transforming the perception, it's not perception and myself like two things totally separate. It's exactly myself, you know. If I perceive if I perceive in a different way, I become a different person. So I have to become a different person because it's not useful to suffer. On the Buddhist point of view, suffering, you find this in many texts. Suffering is not useful. The only point or the only benefit of suffering is to get rid of suffering. This is the utility of suffering. It's not to cultivate suffering. It's to be aware that I don't need that. So it's very useful for that, because with suffering, I have something I can get rid of. I can understand that, okay, I don't need that, because it makes me stuck where I am. I cannot progress. I cannot understand things differently. I cannot have enough, even creativity. I will, how to be creative with anger, for instance. Never, the only way you are creative, it's in your desire to destroy the other, But you are not creative. You are just focused on that. That's all. That's all. But love and kindness and compassion, it's far more creative, because when you have love and compassion, you can start to act in many different ways that can be beneficial for others, even for yourself. You will gain tremendously, by developing that. But I know that, Pavel, you know that, but it's just it's a very long answer to your question, but it's just to say that, yes, sure, we develop love and compassion with tools, but I would prefer the tools of the Four Limitless. And it's perfect we speak about that, because I was thinking before starting this session this evening, I was thinking that, okay, we can do an exercise with the Four Limitless thought. And it's really, really, personally, I feel it as something really powerful. But first, before starting with that exercise, maybe, I don't know, someone want to react to all what I said, or even you, sure, Pavel, you can, of course. If you want to add something, to share something, I don't know. But after, I really would like to do an exercise with you. Yes, Antoine?
Yeah, I was writing a question or
a
commentary on the discussion.
Yeah.
Because when you were talking about this two different levels of love and compassion, the one which is natural, that we have in ourselves, like
Yes.
naturally, it is kind of the Buddha mind that is lying in all of us. And the other level of love and compassion, which is the one that you have to work on every day to progress and to make it happen. I was drawing the comparison or the parallel with the relative bodhicitta and the absolute bodhicitta, but I'm not sure if it's correct to say that when you work on this love and compassion through Lojong, for example, through the mind training, the objective, so to speak, is kind of to connect with this ultimate love and compassion, which is the natural one. Is that correct, or is it two different levels of, or two different domains?
No, it's not. Yeah, it's quite correct, but it difference. It depends how we understand relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta in which context. For instance, in the context of Lojong, we use ultimate bodhicitta to speak about emptiness, but in fact, and here there is the link. There is a link between emptiness and love and compassion, because when we really realize emptiness, so we naturally have love and compassion. So this is the link, definitely. Why? Because we understand what we missed, in fact. Because realizing emptiness, it's really the moment when we realize that we were really too much attached to a fantasy, to a fiction, So this ego, as we perceive it, never exist. In fact, it was never there, you know. So all what we done for that during all our existences, so it was a total misunderstanding, you know. It was really a quiproquo in a way, you know. We were out of the game, you know. We were totally, you know, we were lost in our fantasy, you know, thinking that we have to do to do something for it, you know. We have to protect it. We have to save him. I don't know, you know. We done a lot of things. So the way the moment, you know, we'll realize emptiness, we'll realize that, wow, all of this was totally, you know, fake, you know. It's in the Dharma we're speaking about the false imaginary nature. So false imaginary nature, it's not only that we imagine something that it's not real, but we really imagine something that we think it's real, but it never existed. Never, you know. It wasn't the case that there is something we call ego or the I. Never, you know. You know, and the Buddha is very clear on that. So on that fundamental ignorance, on that, so all the rest is coming, and so all the suffering is developing. Sure. So this is, so in the context of Lojong, ultimate bodhicitta, it's the understanding of emptiness, but mainly because if we think that myself as the agent, the action, and the one who will benefit the action I'm doing. So if I think there are two real, so I will miss the point. I will be, yeah, no, really, I will be wrong. You know, Shaman Rinpoche, he's very clear in his commentary on that point, you know, saying that I have to really understand when I have, in the traditional way of presenting the 59 instruction of Lojong, the second one is reflecting on the phenomena as a dream, you know. Seeing this, it's really the way of training ourselves into the ultimate bodhicitta. But it's really just to be aware that what we'll do after that, afterward, so the training in the relative bodhicitta has to be understood in the light of our understanding of the ultimate bodhicitta. Otherwise, it means that I will train myself in the relative bodhicitta thinking that it's really real, you know. So, for instance, if I do Tonglen without understanding that I'm playing a trick with my ego, you know, as exactly as Shantideva was saying that, okay, you want to protect yourself, so do the good of others. So this will do the good of you of yourself. You know, it's really a way of smiling. You know, saying it's like if Shantideva is saying, yeah, it doesn't exist, this I, but let's say that it exists. So we go with that illusion, you know, we use that illusion. You want to protect it. You really think it exists. Perfect. You don't change. Nothing. But just do that. So you want the good for you. Oh, perfect. So do that for others. So you will do good for you. But what you are doing with that, you are open yourself to others, you know, and you are discovering that you have more in common than you think at first. So that's why the equality with others, it's absolutely important. So when we develop ultimate bodhicitta, so we go back to your question, when we develop more than developing, but when we really realize emptiness, so there is love and compassion, naturally, and it is described as the natural expression of the realization. So we have love and compassion. You know, it's not a bodhisattva say, okay, I need to have a lot of, I need to feel love and compassion, you know, for others. It's not that. It's natural, because they understood that it's like, you know, seeing someone, you know, making, you know, making or hurting her or himself, you know, I don't know, you know, doing something really totally crazy, you know, thinking that it will be very good for him. Like, you know, nowadays, there is a lot of people in this world, you know, thinking that if I crush my enemies, so it will be safe for myself, you know. I'm not saying I'm on this part or on the other part, but just to say that this way of perceiving, it's a madness, you know, because you will never, even in the more, you know, mundane or relative level, you know, will never be safe with a lot of enemies. This is impossible, impossible, you know, impossible. So it's a pure madness. And but how it is possible to be full, you know, as much as we see? It's because we believe that there is something to protect. Definitely, we are totally convinced that we are right, that we do the good thing, you know, that this is exactly what we have to do, to crush the other, you know. And so for a bodhisattva, seeing that, it's just hopeful, you know, not only because it's harmful or it is considered as a sin or a bad deed. It's not a moral point of view. It's just a really pragmatic point of view, saying that, but poor guy, you know, he's making himself suffering, you know. He's hurting himself, in fact, you know. He's thinking that others are others. No, others are just ourselves, you know. We have no differences, absolutely not. And so the difficulty for us is to be convinced of that. That's why Shantideva said, and we go back to the point, Shantideva said, if we don't develop the understanding of equality with others, we cannot feel love and compassion. It's impossible. Impossible. But to feel equality with others, we have to understand, and we go back to emptiness, we have to understand that the illusion of myself, it's exactly the same illusion of yourself. For instance, you, Antoine, or whoever in this little group, when I say myself, you will say exactly the same thing. You will say myself. You know, when you say myself, you say myself. So maybe you have an accent, I have an accent, but you will say you will pronounce the exact same words. You will say myself. And if Pavel say myself, he will say myself. If Regina say myself, she will say myself. So everyone here will say myself. Same thing. But if just imagine 1 second that there is something real in myself. Imagine that myself, it's the real myself. And your myself, it's the fake myself, you know. So normally you cannot use myself because no, your myself is less true than myself, you know, and I'm allowed to use it because I'm using it because I'm really pointing a real myself. But it's not the case, because when you say myself and when I say myself, you are equally convinced to express something absolutely real. When you say myself, you say really myself. And I say myself, you know, we have the same conviction. that we express something absolutely real. And we all do the same. So we all say myself with the same conviction, you know. But we have to be clear. If there is only one true myself, all the other ones are fake. So this is the first possibility. Or the second possibility, and this is the possibility of the Dharma, this is the possibility pointed out by Shantideva, it's to say that all the myself are equally, not wrong, but equally fiction-like myself. They have all the same nature of illusion. This is the point. This is the equality I have with others. The true, you know, we can differ on many things. We can have different ideas, different things we like, we dislike. You love that, I love something different, and okay, this is clear. And if we want to make the list will be very long. But there is something in common between you, between all of you and myself. It's myself. This is exactly the same one. When you say it, you experiment it as true. And when I say it, it's the same. You know, I don't know what it means to be yourself, but I know that when I say myself, I'm convinced to exist. And when you say myself, you are convinced to exist. And so this we have in common. And as Shantideva, he is saying, we have in common that you don't want to suffer, you want to be happy, and that's all. And this is exactly the same for the elephant, for the lion, for the fish, for the ant, for the spirit, for the god, for whoever, for Trump, for Putin, for the Hamas, the Palestinian, the Israeli. So all of them, all of ourselves, all, we want to be happy and we don't want to suffer. But the way we do in order to be happy and not to suffer can differ a lot. Absolutely. We can be wise or we can be fool. But what we all want, it's to be happy and not to suffer. So this is absolutely clear. So the Buddha said that, and this is at the root of his teaching, and this is at the root of mind training. It's the same thing. So understanding bodhicitta, or ultimate bodhicitta, it's the understanding of the fiction-like aspect of ego. Because, you know, when we say emptiness, emptiness doesn't mean that there is nothing. Emptiness means that what I think it exists never existed before. Never existed, never. You know, it never existed, you know. When I say, for instance, I have this cup, you know that the example, this is a really classical example, but I have a cup, okay, and I have one cup in hand. I cannot say, I can deny that. But sure, this cup has nothing in it that will remain or that will last for centuries as a cup. It will be transformed. So it is useful as an object, absolutely, but it has nothing true in it. So when we say emptiness, it's not to say there is no cup. It's to say that there is no cupness in the cup. But there is a cup, and I can use it, you know. I can use an illusion, you know. I can use myself. I'm an illusion, you know. The Dharma is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. But I can use that illusion for something good. Or I can use this illusion thinking that there is more than an illusion, you know. If I use the cup knowing that it's just a cup. Okay, I use it, you know, but I'm not making fool of myself, thinking that yes, absolutely, there is something and this is mine, you know. It's not mine, you know. It's impossible, you know. Even, you know, I'm wearing this piece of cloth, you know. This was Agat's father clothes, you know, and you know he really thought it was himself, you know, his cloth. But no, it wasn't the case, you know. And it's not mine, you know. I'm using it, you know, for that. This is sure, but it will never be mine, you know. Mine, it's an invention. Mine, it's an imagination, you know. There is no my cloth. There is a cloth. There is a cup, but there is no my cup. My, it's an invention, you know. Invention, totally fiction, totally. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I have some reflections about that. First of all, I just can talk about my experience, but is that what you say is I mean, it's obviously like that because you are talking about the classical teachings about emptiness. But there is a part I can just talk about myself. Is I need an exercise or a reflection.
yeah, sure.
Very often.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you know, otherwise it's like the concept is just diluted, no?
Yeah,
and then,
sure.
And then, at this point, I want to ask you two things. One thing and share one is, for example, you make the example of the cup, but I want to ask you, for example, when we say that the phenomenon is like perceived as a dream, the dream, when we wake up, we know that this has not existence. We even don't care if this is a cup, has not cup nature or whatever. It just doesn't exist in itself. It's like it's an illusion. It was there, but it's not. You know, this is one of my questions. Could we use also for our daily training the approach of the dream, in the sense that what we perceive through our senses is just a mistake? Even if we say for sure we feel it, we see the cup. Of course, we feel the cup. Also, if we have a lucid dream, also we feel the cup in the same way. It's not like you feel it. You know you are dreaming, but you feel it. It is one of my questions is if we could use the example of the dream in this sense to slowly dissolve the attachment from the senses to the object. No, this is one question. Other thing is, like, one teaching I received lately, it was about specifically to the point of perceiving the is in between session, when in say that we perceive everything as a mirage, no, as a you know, and the example I received is like is when we the Matrix film, no, when we watch the Matrix and it's Neo there, and Neo. Neo is doing so amazing things, like, are incredible, and during the film, we believe that Neo is doing that. This is the point of how the film is getting us so deeply, so deeply in us, so touching us. No, we believe, a part of us believe like Neo is doing it. But for sure we know, like Keanu Reeves, when he's not able to do all these things, you know. But during the movie, we certain believe that he's doing it. There is a part of us which is completely involved on that. Huh? What do you think about this example to work in the daily life for making this more present? Is my question.
Yeah, sure. I think, yeah, because it's the second instruction for Lojong, you know, perceiving phenomena as a dream. So this is really a key instruction. It's really absolutely important. I would say that when I'm speaking about the cup, maybe the first thing to make it clear, it's to make the difference between the imaginary part of the cup and the functional aspect of the cup. So when I say the function, it's that I'm using a cup, you know. But when I say it's my cup, I have to be very aware that this is really just a way of seeing, you know, of saying. I can be full on a way, on a part I can be full thinking that there is a real cup. Okay, anyway, you know, life will teach me that it's not the case because it will be broken, because I will lose it. So anyway, you know, I will have proof of the non-existence of the cup. So this is not really difficult to understand. The more difficult aspect to understand, it's the imagination of being the owner of the cup. So this is more difficult because you can have the cup, you know, this cup may disappear, but the idea of being the owner of the cup doesn't disappear with the cup. So this is the imagination, and this is the problem. Because, you know, when you lose something, you can say, you know, I had a cup, you know, I had a cup 2 years ago. It was really beautiful, you know. And when you remember that cup, you know, you are still, you know, thinking that it was yours, you know. And so to make it clear that there is a difference between the cup as an object and the imagination thinking that you are the real owner of this cup. So to go back to your question, I think this is in everyday life we have to think about. You have really, I think this is a training. So that's why in the Lojong mind training we say you perceive phenomena as a dream. So what does it mean? It means that a dream appears. When I'm dreaming, I have a dream, you know, I have a dream, I perceive, I feel the dream. If it's a nice dream, I have a nice feeling. If it's a bad dream, I have bad feelings. So everything, this clearly exists. But what doesn't exist, it's the trueness of the experience. So this, I have to be aware of that. So it's exactly when you say the movie, you know, when you see the movie, you are totally in the movie. So you perceive it as real, but you are not full. That's why you are saying that Neo in Matrix, you know, makes us believing that he's really really doing this, you know. But in fact, you know that this is not true, you know. You are not full, you know. You understood that. So it means that you are aware of the fiction aspect of the movie. So, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to look at Matrix, you know, because it's an illusion. No, you can perceive it. You know, we do that all the day long. You know, we perceive illusion. We do that all our life, you know, all during our life, you know. I say myself, you know, but when I was 5 years old, I was already saying myself, you know. But I can assure you that the myself when I was 5 years old, you know, it's absolutely not the same as the myself as now, you know. You know, if you look the picture, you will be convinced. But, you know, for myself, you know, I have the same illusion, you know. I really believe believe that I was the myself when I was 5 years old, you know. And now I'm absolutely believing that I'm really myself, you know. And when I will die, I will really think that, okay, I'm really dying, you know. But no. So this is the point of when we say, you know, practicing the Dharma. For instance, when we say practicing the Dharma means every day I have to think about it. Every day I have to think about impermanence, but not impermanence saying that everything will disappear. This we know. This is not thinking about impermanence. No, absolutely not. This is just a fact that everything will disappear. Sure, we know. We don't have to think about it. We know that. Thinking about impermanence means that from the start, it doesn't exist, you know. It's impermanent in that way. Impermanent means that it's not as you think, you know. The cup exists, but not as you think, not as a permanent thing. So this is the problem of impermanence, not the problem of impermanence, but the problem of permanence is to think that there is something that permanently exists. So I don't know. I think training in that means that every day I have to really be in my life totally involved in everything. This is okay, perfect, no problem with that. But just to remember that this is a movie, you know. So the myself I say, the my cup I'm using, you know, I can even, you know, I can say, okay, the cup, I can change a little bit, you know, being aware of the moment when I say myself, you know, for instance, I feel anger for someone, for instance. Okay, so, okay, what is this? Okay, this is just a feeling, you know, but it doesn't mean that it exists for real, you know. But this is just to be aware. When we say tenche in Tibetan, means to be aware, or we can speak about chine, means that we never lose that. It means we keep that understanding with us. When I desire something, you know, okay, this is desire, and I'm totally involved in that. Yeah, but I can perceive that 10 minutes after, you know, it's something else, you know. So being aware makes me understanding that there is a fiction in that. But fiction doesn't mean that nothing exists. Fiction means that what I think that exists doesn't exist as I think it exists. So this is the fiction. It's not to say that there is no cup, but it's to say that I understand that when I'm saying the cup, and more of that, when I'm saying my cup, I'm dreaming. Because this cup will never be mine. And when I'm wearing this piece of cloth belongs to Agat's father, I remember that. Every day, you know, I'm wearing it, and every day I remember, you know, what Lama Tenzong told me. He said, you know, what belongs to you definitely will be in the hands of others. Because it means that one day you will lose everything, and this is the nature of things, and people will use it, and I'm using it, you know. So, what is this? My piece of cloth, you know? No, this is an imagination, but saying there is something on me, I call it a cloth, yeah, why not? So it's like to be intelligent with our illusions, you know. Just saying emptiness means nothing exists. No, this is not true. And in the tradition of Madhyamika, we take seriously the relative truth, you know, because objects are functioning. So it's perfect. Nothing bad in this, you know. The problem it's absolutely it's not that. This is not the problem. The problem is what we add on that. In Tibetan we say chota. Chota means the how we say. You know, when you have an arrow, you know, with the bow and arrow, you know, you have this tiny piece, how we call it in English, I don't know, but anyway, you know, bird feather, you know. So this is chota means you add something to the wood of the arrow that doesn't belong to the wood. So you add something on it, you know. It's like a convention. When I say my cup, it means that you add the idea of my cup, you add the idea on the object. So this is what we call chota. So chota means imputation. You impute objects to something that never was the object. And so practicing the Dharma, when we say in the instruction, you know, thinking about the dream aspect of phenomena, it means that we are aware of that, totally. But we know it's exactly the problem we have. So every day we think about that, really, but seriously. Otherwise, you know, we forget and we get trapped. And that's why also we do when we do Tonglen, it's the same thing, you know, because it means that we are playing with the illusion of me, myself, and others, you know. It's not that there is really negativity that I inspire, you know, I'm breathing in, and there is really positivity or qualities that I really breathing out, and people that are really receiving it. No, but by doing this, I'm exchanging. So it means that I understand that I can do that even if it's contrary to the basic logic of the mind, or ordinary mind, let's say, but I can do that. It's not risky, you know. I will not lose something, you know. I can offer, because in fact I can do that when I understand that others, they are all the same, because they want to get this, you know. So if they want, so it's fine, because you know they are exactly like myself. So in fact, by doing the exercise, you eventually you understand that others are no different than yourself, you know. So you are not giving to others, in fact. Eventually you understand this. But you have to do the exercise, otherwise, no, it never happened.
Okay, then one thing related with is the phenomena as a dream, because for me, personally, the practice of Tonglen and in the daily life is very linked to that, and I want to have a better understanding of that. Is when we are dreaming, and you have a cup in your dream. This experience, as everything is the unity between luminosity and emptiness. No, everything what we is the same. No? And one in the dream would say this cup exists, but then now it's coming your new you when wake up and have now this cup doesn't exist. It's not there, obviously, because it was a dream. And now you wake up and you have a cup in your hand, no? And now you say this cup exists. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's here, you know. But the cup still is also the union between emptiness and luminosity, no? And the thing is, when we say it's not to go to the nihilistic point that nothing exists, but it's more for me understanding the union between these two aspects of the mind, no? Because when you say this cap exists, for sure exists in a relative level, because obviously we are touching it and so on, even if there is nothing to touch, because the cap is a mix of many things. But what is the point? You know, what is the difference between the dream and the part when you are awake? You suppose you are awake in the terms of the cap and in the terms of this, because when we are in the daily life, we are all the time experiencing things, and we try to apply the idea of all phenomena are like a dream. But in my case, yes, it's very important for me to understand, even if you know this double aspect.
But yeah,
I'm going around of the same, but
no, sure, but you know the important part or important aspect of the dream, it is related to the fact that we believe. So believing, it's really an interesting part of the experience. So to dream, in order to dream, you have to believe. You cannot dream without believing. You know, when we experiment dream, so we believe we dream. We're sure. And that's why we say I had a dream. You know, because we are totally convinced that we had an experience. You know, so it means that during the dream we believe. We believe totally in the reality of what we perceive, even if it's not real. But this is not the point now. We have just to understand that believing. This is the aspect we have to think about. You know, we believe. So if really, when I see clearly, even we don't have to speak about lucid dream, maybe, but it's not. We don't have to go too far in that. But just to say, I believe. I know that. I know when I had a dream, I know that I believed in my dream. You know, I was totally in my dream. You know, so this teach me something. When I say, or it's not I say, when the instructions says, train yourself in perceiving phenomena as the dream, it means many things. But it indicates that I have to understand it as the same system of belief. Because in fact, when I dream, I believe in the trueness or in the reality of the dream, but I'm not saying this. You know, when I experiment the reality of the dream, I'm totally convinced. That's why I'm dreaming. Otherwise, you know, I cannot dream. You know, it will not be a dream. So I need this illusion-like dream aspect of things. It's really interesting because it teaches me something. It teaches me that I have the ability of believing in a dream. I have the ability of believing in an illusion and thinking that illusion is absolutely real. So this experience of belief or believing in the trueness or the reality of the dream, in my life, I'm perceiving in the same way. So it's not to say during my everyday life, I have to think, I'm dreaming. No, it's not the point. You know, because this is too difficult. If I just imagine I'm dreaming, no, I'm not dreaming. I know that now I'm not dreaming. I know that this is not the dream, you know. I'm really awake and I'm speaking to you, and it's not a dream. But I can see the exact same point. It's the fact that I'm sure it exists. And if I understand that believing that it really exists, so this is the nature of the dream. The nature of the dream, it's not to say it's an illusion. This is just intellectual understanding. The experience or the experiment of the dream, it's the fact of being trapped in the dream, of being totally sure that it exists. So when I'm saying, this is my cup, so I'm dreaming. But I believe. If I don't believe, there is no dream. So I have to believe. I have to believe that there is something that exists in order to say, this is mine. Otherwise, it's impossible. I cannot say, I cannot believe to have something if I don't believe that this something really exists. So the point, it's not to add something saying, oh no, it's just an illusion. No. It's really interesting perceiving myself being totally convinced of the reality of the cup as my cup, you know. So this is the point. This is the link with the dream, because in the dream, I will have the same experience, you know. I'm totally believing in my dream, you know. And when I wake up, wow, I understand it was a dream. So what I understand, yeah, usually we say, I understand it was a dream, so it means it was fake. So this is the way we say, no? But what I have to understand, it is that I believed it was true, it was real, you know. My experience is not to say I understood it was fake. No. It's not the case. When I am in the dream, I'm sure it exists. So this teach me something of of the reality of what I'm saying when I say my cup. When I say my cup, this is really like the dream. You know, I really believe. But there is no. So you know, it's a different way of understanding what we say like a dream. Like a dream, it's not to say it was fake. No. Like a dream means during your dream, you thought it was real. So this is like a dream. Saying I perceive like a dream means I perceive things as real as I was perceiving it during my dream. Because during my dream, there is no doubt. Everything what happened in my dream was totally real. So, it's like saying, realness, this is the illusion. It's not to say, dream is an illusion. Yeah, sure, it's an illusion. But the interesting part of the dream, it's to make me believing it was true. So this is the illusion aspect of the dream. So it's the belief. I believe totally. I'm totally sure. And when I say my cup, I'm totally sure. So it's, in a way, it's easy. When I say my cup, I'm sure I'm dreaming. Because this is the exact same experience done in my dream. Sure. You're welcome. no, but sure. This is a good trick, you know. When I say, I'm sure, you know, it exists. Yeah, perfect, you are dreaming, you know, because this is, yeah, no, it was not the case. So this is really the lojong or the mind training way of using the illusion. You know, we're not saying it's an illusion, so it doesn't exist. We say, ah, very interesting, yeah. Oh, very good. So there is an illusion, perfect. So what this illusion teach me? So this illusion teach me what? It teach me that I believe in illusions. So this is the teaching. The teaching is not to say it's an illusion. The teaching is to say you believe in illusion. So this is the teaching. I have to understand that I believe in illusion. Just to say it's an illusion makes no difference. Absolutely not. But if I perceive myself being totally sure that illusion exists, okay, so I understood something. And I dream in that way. So I'm perceiving in my real life, it's exactly the same. I'm totally convinced that I exist. Sure, I have no doubt. But I will die.
This detail, yes, you said, no, that it was it's a little detail, but it was very important.
No, it's really important. It's absolutely important. But you know, for me, it's quite new. You know, because really, more and more, even if you know, if I'm not practicing all the day, this is sure. But really thinking about all of this more and more, you know, it makes me more and more clear that the point is not to say it's an illusion, no, but it's really understanding that believing in illusion. So this is the teaching, you know. Saying things are illusion, yeah, but I'm not convinced. But believing I'm convinced. And believing in things that doesn't exist. So this is tremendous, you know, this is extraordinary, you know, how it is possible, you know, exactly as you said, you know, you see a movie and you think it exists. So perfect, this is the teaching, you know, it's my ability in thinking that it exists. So this is the teaching, you know, it's to understand my ability of making this illusion-like reality. So this I have to understand. But to say it's a movie, I know it's a movie. But this is not the teaching. The teaching is it's to understand how much I'm able to believe in that. So this is fantastic in a way, you know. This is incredible, you know. It's a marvelous, you know, trick of magic, you know, because really, you know, being able of thinking that something exists as I know that it doesn't exist. So this is extraordinary, you know, because when I you know, when I look a movie, you know, as you are doing, you know, you have this ability of thinking it's real, it's marvelous, you know, we have this ability. So this is the teaching again. Sorry, I'm repeating, but it's really just to make it clear, even for myself, you know, because it's really something that I have to understand. Otherwise, you know, it's not helpful, you know, to say, it's just a dream. No. It's really interesting, you know. It's just a movie. Yeah, no, sure, I know that it's just a movie, but this is not the point. I know that. But do I know that I'm so capable to believe in illusion? No, this I never understood, you know. I never understood that I have this ability. But this is extraordinary. And if I understand that, okay, I can start to to understand that, sure, I can believe in the reality of ego, you know, sure. Because, you know, if I'm capable of thinking that a movie or that a dream is real, so I can believe anything. Because, you know, it's again fantastic to be able to have real emotion in a movie, crying, having anger, desire, a lot, powerful, in something that it doesn't exist. This is really fantastic, you know, and we have this power, you know, it's a power, it's a power of the mind. So this power of the mind, this is the power of the mind. So without that power of the mind, we cannot imagine that ego exists. We need to have this power, otherwise it's impossible, you know, impossible. And with that power, we can be trapped in the samsara. Without that power, we cannot be trapped. It's impossible, you know. No one makes us trapped in the samsara. It's just because we believe in that way that we are trapped. That's all. But there is no one saying that you have to believe in it. You know, we don't even have to learn how to believe. We naturally know how to believe. Since our childhood, you know, we know how to believe stories. We know how to believe comics. We know how to believe movies. So we know, we have this natural ability of in believing in illusion. You know, this is our greatest ability. So because this is our biggest problem, so it's also our biggest antidote. Because if we understand something of that, so we start using the key that makes free us from where we are trapped. Sure. If I understand the power of my, not the power of the illusion, no. If I understand the power of myself thinking that an illusion is real, if I understand that power, so I really start to understand something on myself. It's not understanding that this is an illusion. No, it's not enough. It's not enough, because this is just an info. You know, you have the information. You know, oh, okay, it's an illusion. So yeah, what, you know, but no difference, because you know it's an illusion. Yeah, but what else? You know. No. Understanding my ability in thinking that this is real. This is absolutely extraordinary, fantastic, you know, amazing, you know, this is amazing, absolutely amazing, you know. Yeah. Okay, friends, so maybe we can stop with that now. Okay for you? Okay, yeah, very nice. So we finish with a dedication, you know, and we can really, you know, we can use that illusion thinking that, okay, may all being aware of their ability in believing in illusion, you know, may I be aware of my capability in dreaming, you know, my capability in imagine that this is real, you know, this is the wish we can make, you know. Maybe waking up, maybe it starts from there, you know, from understanding that there is something from where I can wake up, you know. Otherwise, I don't even imagine from where I can wake up, you know. Okay. So nandi tamje zigbane domne nyepe janam pamjen. Okay, thank you, friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Regina, Pilar, Elena, Aviva. All the best.
Thank you.
And see you soon.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.